Hey guys, welcome to wonderful, wet, rainy Lancaster County. We're back in the area and trying to get ready for our bike trip. I was able to spend, I guess it was last week now, with my father down in Florida. We had to head on down there so we could get our domicile set up and take care of the card registration, the licenses, all that sort of thing. That's all preparing for my wife and I to basically hit the road. She's a travel nurse. I can do remote work. So we're basically changing our whole life. So house sells, I think, the end of May 31st. My contract with the sweetest place on earth goes to 6/28, and then beginning of July, we'll be hitting the road. I don't know if it's going to be July 4th, but you know what they say. So basically what we wanted to do is we took a couple, an hour or two out of our day. We went out to the Withlacoochee state trail. That is a rails to trail that they have down there in Inverness, Florida, I believe is the city. So we had a good time. Went down there. I had to rent one. So in the video, you'll see that I'm not wearing a helmet. You didn't have to if you're on the rails to trails, but it was interesting. We will definitely wear helmets on the road, and Dad was wearing a helmet on the trail. But the very next day, a truck trying to evade police officers actually took a right and went down the rails to trail and almost struck a bunch of bikers. So I would say it's probably always a wise idea to wear a helmet, even if the rules say that you don't have to. But that's the way it was from what we rented. I rented a German-made trike. It was interesting. It had a lot of shocks and stuff like that. I'll try to put the name in the notes here as we go forward. But had a good time with my father. So we're going to show you a little bit of video of that time, and then about halfway through we'll probably stop, and we had some lunch, and Dad kind of went over the things that are on his trike. He likes to make sure that we're as safe as possible, so he's going to show you all the different things he's added to his bike and kind of give you an understanding of why he's done what he's done. And then we'll go back and tail out the video with some more scenery. So stay tuned.
of the ride is I'm wearing goggles instead of just sunglasses, because on a trike you're leaning back, and if on a bike you ride like this. So the sunglass is okay on a bike. You get on a trike, and after a couple hours of the wind blowing up under your sunglasses, your eyes get dry. So I wear goggles when I ride. And then I just always wear a cap so I can take the goggles off and carry an extra pair of sunglasses with me just to walk around town. Now what I have on the bike, I started with, I have a stilt, if you want to call it, to get my light up in the air. Because you're low, and I want my light right where the average car is. Now, there isn't any way I can take care of those big, super big tire trucks, but I do this because we want to be seen. We're on, state highways, and so we want to be seen. So I've put a big 9-inch triangle on my rear each side, so that coming up the road, especially when under trees or something in the morning, that the brightness is going to reflect off those reflectors, and I keep this one on. Then you notice our packages are out, so I have that, and on the trip, since I have my trailer, it's got a bright orange bag that goes in the trailer, and that stands out. So as you move forward, you want to have flags. Now normally they say a 7-foot flag is best. I find that I keep breaking my flagpoles in a big wind. So I've started putting on 6 feet because I'm high enough for almost even a typical large truck is that high. So I pretty much cover everybody who's coming at me to see me. Then you notice I have mirrors that go way up. I've added the aero bars that go on racing bikes only in this position, so I can put my mirrors up high. I use a large mirror because we're riding highways and state highways, so we want to be able to be seen and to see who's coming up behind us. So I do all of that, and then coming at me, you notice I'm wearing a bright orange shirt, also have bright yellow, so that anybody coming down the road towards us, I become very obvious to that person. So I've always said that if somebody ever hits me on my trike, I told my wife, sue them, because they were either on their phone or they were texting somebody, because you cannot not see me as I ride along. Those are the safety things. Oh, and I use this because it shades the speedometer that I use a Garmin in here, and then I use my phone with a app on it as my backup, because I just turn it on in the morning and then turn it off in the evening, and it only uses about 20-30% of the battery power, so all I have to do is charge it up that night. And so I'm pretty well covered. I carry 4 bottles, 3 bottles are mounted on the bike. I carry 1 in my safety in there, and I get an hour to an hour and a half depending on how hot the weather is on each. So I pretty much takes me the whole day, but at least covers if I don't get to stop at every, say, like 30 miles, so that I make sure that I have enough liquid, because we're going to be driving a lot of desert. And that's all I have to say.
What about the panniers and the red bag on top?
The what?
The panniers.
Oh, okay. And my panniers, I have large ones, and they're waterproof. But even on top of that, because even in waterproof, you get enough rain, you're going to get some water in there. So I pack most everything into little plastic Ziploc bags, and then do them up daily. The only thing I don't do that, and I have a couple of net bags for dirty clothes, and I put them up here so they breathe off all the sweat and all the smell from the day before, so that I don't put them in the bag where they're going to be airtight and they get to smell really bad. So this is for my safety.
And I noticed you put large triangles on the back, so that...
Yeah, the triangles are for me the most important thing, because I want to be seen. Chuck, you want to come over here? Because I definitely want to be seen for safety, for me, and also for the courtesy to the cars coming up behind me. One of the things I have noticed, most people say, aren't you afraid to drive on the interstates or the highways where it's legal? And I tell them no, because I have a 8-foot or 12-foot lane on the side that is all my lane. Nobody else gets to use it, and I ride to the right of it. So a truck going by me is 8 feet from me, and that's a pretty safe distance to be driving from somebody.
And you can see the difference between the 2 bikes how one is very obvious and one is not.
And that's my. Recently, I was riding on the Titusville Trail down at the rocket launch in Florida, and a guy was coming at me on a very low trike, and he was all in black, and he was about 1.5 miles straight down the trail from me, and I could not figure what it was. I didn't know if it was an animal or what for the longest time. And you get into a overcast or trees over the road, and you get that shade, you coming up behind you on a car, you don't see the bike very well. So I want to make sure I'm bright.